Hi kids, I'm making this short video to try to walk you through um, doing your poem Retell, because I'm not with you to give you these instructions. So first off, you should read all of these instructions. Please read them. Um, but I'm going to also show you me following these instructions for my own poem. So I know that the purpose of me doing this is to help me really focus on understanding what's going on the surface of my poem. And I know that I've got to keep it to 3, 4, or 5 sentences. So if I scroll down, title, author, first thing that happens, or first opinion, next thing that happens, next thing. And then see, these two say if necessary, if necessary. That's because I have to do at least 3 sentences, as our Schimmel told me. And I might do 4 and I might do 5. That's why those both say if necessary. So I'm going to use the rewritten version of my poem because that's the version that put it in more plain language and made it easier to read. So my poem's got 6 sentences in it. How am I going to break that into 3 or 4 or 5 main things that are going on? I could combine these two. So I might say, I remember Ms. Arnschemmel said in the instructions, a useful term is the speaker, because that's what we call a narrator when it's a poem. So I might say, first the speaker says he knows who's, you know what, let me back up. The speaker is looking at some woods, semicolon, favorite punctuation. He says he knows whose they are, but that person won't see him looking at the woods. He's found on. Woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his wood fill up with snow. Next thing that happens is the speaker notices, I could probably clump these two together actually, they're both about the horse. The speaker says, horse probably thinks it's weird to be stopping. Do I need to include all this detail between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year? No, I could summarize it. I could say stopping here at night. The darkest evening of the year feels important. And the horse shakes his bells to ask if there is a mistake. So notice I'm not writing word for word what's in the poem, but I am using some of the words in the poem. To ask if there is some mistake becomes to ask if there's a mistake. The next thing is the speaker notices that it's almost silent except for just the sound of wind and snow. So I'll put that here. Notices that except for the bells, any comments there? The only other sounds are the wind and the snow. That comma, except for the bells, comma, the only other sounds are the wind and the snow. And the last thing is the speaker says that the woods are beautiful, but he has to keep some promises and he has a long way to go. The speaker says that the woods are beautiful, but he has to keep some promises and he has a long way to go. Now, recall that in the instructions I said, go back up here, resist the urge to interpret the poem, just stay focused on the surface meaning of the poem. Here's what I mean by that. If I wanted to interpret the poem at this point, I could say, This obviously represents that he wants to give up on life, but he knows he must keep living. That would be me interpreting the poem, but that would be wrong, right? For this assignment, for this Retell assignment, I'm literally just writing what's happening on the surface of the poem. This is just one more step in addition to the step of rewriting the poem and in addition to the step of reading it out loud. This is just one more step in the process of you understanding the surface meaning of your poem. So don't put anything in your retell that isn't happening on the surface. Like, even if you think the poem is really, really about love, or really, really about grief, or really, really about relationships, just stay on the surface of the poem. Right. That's it.